A forgotten classic from the mid-1970s by the great Italian director Michelangelo Antonioni. It's The Passenger, starring Jack Nicholson. Have you ever heard of this movie? Let's talk about why you might like it, what it's about, coming up next. Passenger was released in 1975. Antonioni went to Hollywood here, taking the movie star Jack Nicholson, who plays the journalist David Locke in a French-speaking country in Africa near the Sahara Desert. And to give a brief overview of the plot, in fact the main plot point, which you'll discover in the first 15 minutes of the movie, this journalist, David Locke, is in a hotel in a remote part of the country. We don't know the name of it, in Africa, and he finds another man dead in a hotel room next to him. He's already met this man. The man just has had a heart attack and has died, named Robertson, who claims he has no friends, no family, nobody. And David Locke takes on the identity of Robertson, trades places with him, fakes his own death, and becomes Robertson. He seems to know that Robertson is some sort of spy or secret agent. As we learn later in the movie, he's also called a gun runner. So one of the movie's major questions is, why does David Locke take on a new identity? We don't know hardly anything about him. Why does he become this man Robertson? And of course, what's going to happen to him when he becomes a sort of secret agent or spy? Now that sounds like the stuff of an action movie thriller, and in fact, if this were a genuine Hollywood movie from the 1990s to the present day, this would have been action-packed, suspenseful, music, wild music all over the place. But in fact, you watch the movie, it's an anti-action thriller, maybe an anti-James Bond spy movie. If you know Antonioni's other movies, you know he's concerned with existentialism, too much freedom, man in exile. In fact, he features in this movie 2 or 3 times various books, and one is called The Soul of an Ape. Very clearly a commentary on his character, who has chosen to get rid of his own identity and become a new person, and what that would mean. Plus, this is a road movie, sort of a road trip movie, a drifter movie, as it were, as this character Robertson / David Locke goes through Europe, mainly in Spain, though, and he ends up wandering around Spain, maybe vaguely hinting at Don Quixote, the most famous of all novels, perhaps, most famous of all Spanish novels. It feels a little bit like a wanderer going through Spain in the second half of this movie.
Who are you?
I used to be somebody else, but I traded him in.
You will have to be very patient with The Passenger. It is not for everybody. It is for those who want to be actively thinking and looking around. First of all, Antonioni's camera is a wanderer, and he wants to show you the landscape and the things around the main character. He is not interested in plot points here, and so you're going to have to discover some of the key questions or pieces of information as this movie goes along, but the movie won't hand them to you, and this movie will be frustrating. As I said, it's an anti-spy movie. If you think about the James Bond movies coming out at the time, there's 6 or 7 James Bond movies by 1975. This one wants to be the inversion of that, thinking about an ordinary person or journalist becoming a secret agent, and then trying to get away from being a secret agent in a way. Jack Nicholson here, and one of my favorite actors actually, again plays a drifter character. By this point in 1975, he'd already done so. You know, the famous character in Easy Rider. Then The Last Detail, wonderful movie by Hal Ashby. 5 Easy Pieces, which I've covered on this channel. So he's already played 3 or 4 drifter characters, and here is another one. I'm not revealing plot points because I want you to discover them if you can, if you're not going to give up on this movie. The first time I watched this movie, I quit after 30 to 40 minutes because I was not in the mood to be this patient and this observant. And the second time through, it was much better. I really appreciate it, and you have to wait for the final shot, or the next to last shot, which is a very long take. It's a marvelous take that reveals a lot. And you'll see Antonioni is the master of visual cinematography. he really is kind of a silent movie director. If you got rid of all his dialogue, you'd still see a story, you'd still see a lot of meaning in his movies, and he shows you that in the great in this movie, Next to Last Shot. Antonioni did not own up to being a religious director. I think he disavowed that entirely, but I have to ask him, or I would ask him, why he always includes Adamic or Adam and Eve imagery, as you will see in this movie several times. And one of his themes, or one of his ideas coming up with 20th century existentialism, is pairing that with the Adam in exile dilemma. Adam kicked out of the garden. Can we ever recover the Garden of Eden, the utopia of, at least a psychological utopia, if not more than that? And here, there's political themes in this movie. It's interesting to think about whether this movie is including the political themes in order to disavow the political entirely, or whether Antonioni really wants to go there or not. But to me, he's a very moral director, and thinking about people and their actions. And here, this character getting rid of his old life, David Locke, and we're always thinking, should he do this? Is he really better off? Why did he do this? These are questions that persist throughout every frame of the movie. What do you think of The Passenger? What do you think it means? What do you think about the title? Actually, I'm a little confused about the title. So please give us some comments and your view of the movie in the comments section. Thank you so much. And subscribe to this channel if you haven't already for more great content. Thank you. Have a great day.